A very exciting morning here in New South Wales. Restaurants and cafes across the state will now be open to 50 patrons. I'm here at the Coogee Courtyard this morning. Tables are being prepared. We have menus coming out, ready to welcome multiple guests here, saying today that just 10 patrons wasn't enough for large cafes like this to make their business viable. They're now going to be able to welcome 50 people. Very excited here today. Pubs and clubs as well will be reopening, but no dance floors yet. I'm very sad to report we'll see libraries open across the state. Books, however, will need to face a 24-hour quarantine period before they are rented out again. We'll see galleries and museums welcoming guests again. Beauty salons can have up to 10 customers at a time. Many businesses today just relieved to be able to open their doors to more patrons and start to generate some serious revenue.
It's going to be good. I think the community's been crying out for it. It's been a long time. The 10-seater for the last couple of weeks have been a bit punishing, but you could see people are itching, ready to go. They want to get out and experience, dining again.
There'll now also be 20 people allowed at weddings, 50 people at funerals and places of worship, and regional travel is also back on the cards as of today. We will be able to move freely throughout our state, support those regional areas that have really been doing it tough through droughts, bushfires and now a pandemic.
Isabella, thank you. Cafes, restaurants and pubs will reopen for in-store dining across Victoria today. So let's get the latest from Pat Murrell, who joins us from Melbourne. Pat, good morning to you. So it's welcome news for the industry as well as coffee-deprived Melburnians such as yourself.
That's right, Peter. Coffee amongst other things as well. For the first time in 10 weeks, cafes, restaurants and pubs can open for 20 in-store diners at a time, provided they do maintain that social distance. Welcome news for the industry, which has been struggling, losing millions of dollars for weeks now, serving takeaway coffees and takeaway meals only. Now, they do have to follow some pretty strict rules to open. Patrons all have to be spaced by 1.5 metres. There's a more rigorous cleaning required, and venues also have to take down the contact details of everyone who attends so that contact tracing can be done if there is another coronavirus outbreak. Alcohol will be served only with meals and people will only receive table service. Pubs are already starting to be booked out for the start of the AFL season. Of course, it's starting on the 11th of June. Many people booking big packages for the first game in weeks now. Here in Richmond, though, Pillar of Salt Cafe are expecting to see an uptake in patrons. They've been serving takeaway coffees for weeks now. It's those cafes in the CBD that might continue to struggle. People are still required by law to work from home if they can do so. So there'll be very reduced foot traffic in the city for weeks. Now, as well as eateries, beauty salons and other similar businesses can reopen for 20 patrons at a time. There's weddings which have been expanded to 20 people. Funerals have been expanded to 50 mourners. Travel within the state has also been given the green light, so people can travel to regional Victoria and stay there overnight. And welcome news for the tourism industry, which has been also losing millions of dollars, not just because of coronavirus, but also the bushfires we saw over the summer season. But for now, Pete, I'm keen to get a coffee and sit down for a meal for the first time in 10 weeks.
Good luck with that, Pat. Thank you. I'll ask you how it is the next time we have a chat in an hour's time. Pat, thank you. Now, from midday, Queenslanders will be able to travel freely within the state and for overnight stays. Let's go to Anna Rawlings now. She joins us from Brisbane. Anna, good morning to you. So this was a decision to ease restrictions early.
That's right, Pete. We weren't supposed to hear from the Premier about the easing of travel restrictions until June 12, and then it was going to just be within a 250-kilometre radius. But instead, Annastacia Palaszcuzuk has bypassed that two-week decision and that distance, allowing all Queenslanders to travel almost anywhere they want for overnight stays. The only places they can't go are within biosecurity zones, as well as within Indigenous communities that have been restricted in a bid to stop any spread of cases into those communities. Now, it is welcome news for the Queensland tourism industry, and Queenslanders are being encouraged to travel in their own backyard to help revitalise the industry. Of course, though, not a great update on Queensland's wider border restrictions. As we know, the Premier, causing some consternation, has kept those borders closed, alluding to the fact they might not be open until September. Yesterday, though, she said that she may reconsider that decision by the end of the month. If those borders were to open, it would be another couple of weeks. So around the middle of July is when we could potentially see Queensland's wider borders open. Now, in terms of other easing restrictions today from midday, gyms will be able to have 20 people, as well as pubs, clubs and restaurants. So good news for that sector as well.
Anna Rawlings, live in Brizzy. Anna, thank you. Well, South Australia is also entering stage 2 of its roadmap with 1.5 metre distancing and the 4 square metre rule in place. 80 people are allowed at restaurants, cafes, pubs, wineries and breweries, cinemas and museums, gyms and classes that are limited to 10 people, but all provided there are no more than 20 in a group. Beauty and nail salons, tattoo and massage parlours will reopen, and up to 50 people can attend funerals. As for the rest of the country, the Northern Territory heads into stage 3 from midday on Friday, Western Australia on Saturday, and Tasmania will have to wait until the 15th of June for the next stage of restrictions to ease, while Canberra stepped into the second stage just before the weekend.